Okay. My opponent's claim was that the technological advancement is ruining the ability of the younger generation to interact socially. Her secondary claims consisted of technology is addicting, negatively affecting our social world, and ruining one's brain. Tonight, I challenge this claim and propose that the technological advancement within the younger generation has resulted in an increase in social interactions. My claims for you are that the technological advancement has caused the younger generation to develop friendships, is positively affecting our social world, and lastly, has improved how the younger generation is educated. Back to my first claim, being how the technological advancement has caused the younger generation to develop friendships. Amanda Lenhart from Pew Research Center studies that for today's teens, friendships can start digitally. 57% of teens have met a friend online, while social media and online gameplay are the most common digital venues for meeting friends. Overall, social media helps teens feel more connected to their friends, feelings, daily lives, and also offers teens a place to receive support from others during challenging times. Finally, Amanda Lenhart concludes her study saying that 84% of boys who play networked games say that they feel more connected to friends when they play, compared with 62% of girls. Just about half of the teens playing networked games help them feel connected to people who they aren't otherwise connected to. As just said, that technology advancement is resulting in the development of new friendships. This brings me to my second point, that technological advancement positively affects the social world. Technological advances have brought the world closer, making communication across long distance easier. Cell phones allow people to call and speak regardless of the location. Webcams are also make it possible to see the person you're speaking with rather than just hearing their voice. Business networking is made easier by social media by allowing companies and workers scattered around the globe, but still being able to hold meetings and discussions. Elsa Shearer and Jeffrey Goffride from Journalism and Media state that the study of news across social media has increased. As of August 2017, 2/3 of Americans report that they get at least some of their news on social media. This is modest increase since early 2016, when during the height of the presidential primaries, 62% of the U.S. adults reported getting news from social media. Specifically, about 2/3 of Americans use Facebook, and the majority of those users get their news on this site. Instead of the claim that technology is negatively affecting the social world, said by my opponent, it is positively benefiting us by giving us the opportunity to engage with others at any time, anywhere. Because the technological advancement is positively affecting the social world, this brings me to my last point, that the technological advancement is also improving how the younger generation is being educated. Kelly Walsh from Emerging ED Tech reports that a clinical psychologist in Westchester, Pennsylvania, used CogMed, a computer-based brain training program, in treating a 12-year-old with ADHD who used to have trouble in school. The psychologist states the results were surprising. His working memory improved, he retained more information in class, and he got high grades on tests and quizzes. And the success made the 12-year-old feel better about himself. Technology infuses classrooms with digital learning tools such as computers and handheld devices, expands course offerings, experiences, and learning materials. Students' engagement and motivation accelerates with their learning. The University of Education states, technology has the power to transform teaching by ushering in a new model of connected teaching. This model links teachers to the students and to the professional content, resources, and systems to help improve their own instruction and personalized learning. Previously, if you wanted information, we'd have to go to the library and search our subject, but now it's easier. We can just go on Google and that pops up in the next 10 seconds. So instead of saying that technology is harmful to the brain, as my opponent also stated, Bravler told Science News video game players improve their ability to make fast decisions, not just for the act of gaming, but for the unrelated and rather dull tasks. This is also because they are required to make quick decisions and respond to stimuli. Now, because the technological advancement has resulted in younger generation to develop more friendships, is positively affecting our social world, and lastly improving our younger generation, I can conclude that the technological advancement within our younger generation has resulted in an increase in our social interactions. Thank you.
All right, basically you just develop a counter argument to the whole thing. There's no discussion of the advocate's evidence or their reasoning process on any of these particular points. It's just counterclaim, 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 which means that it's going to be hard to assess if these are mutually exclusive terms or concepts. For example, is increasing the number of friends that you have incompatible with the addictive and distracting nature of technology? Is the ability to use a variety of technology in positive ways and get information, does that overcome some of the harmful consequences that the advocates talk about? There are a lot of things that can both be simultaneously true, and then you haven't really responded to the advocate's issue, and I think that's a little problematic. There needs to be a little bit more direct analysis of what the advocate argued here. On your counterclaims, though, I thought you presented some good information. You had data on each of the points. You explained what your position was on those points. You need to contrast it a little bit more with the argument that the advocate's presenting. One of the things that's problematic, and this will be especially true if we get to the debates, is if you get up and the one person says, here are 3 reasons why we ought to do X, and the other person gets up and says, well, here are 3 reasons why we shouldn't do X, and those 3 reasons that the one person presented have nothing to do with the 3 reasons that the other person presented, why are we having a debate? There's no function in that. The whole purpose is to have a little bit of clash. And I'm not sure that I'm seeing the clash in your argument. I think there could be, but you need to do a little bit more contrasting on those points. I like the fact that you cited the evidence pretty consistently in the presentation. I do think on your third point, you're a little dependent in the first section on a single example of a piece of technology. I don't think that the advocate would ever be accused of saying technology doesn't have any advantages. The ability to address somebody with ADHD and use a brain program to help them, that seems pretty reasonable. I doubt that they would suggest that that wasn't true. The real question is it having an effect in the classroom? Is it producing generally better results or harmful results? Some tools might have better results. I think the advocate is arguing that the general impact has been negative. But again, I don't know what the evidence and the argument was presented by the advocate, because that exists largely out of the context of this particular argument. Another thing, just a presentation thing, and this is something that's happened routinely on a number of the speeches, and we haven't talked about it much. There's just way too much reading going on here. You need to tell us what your argument is. I would be happy if you didn't look at anything except the evidence that you're presenting. You tell me what your argument is, how it compares to the advocate's argument. Instead, I'm getting a lot of reading of what the idea is, and if we took that away, I think you can tell right away. There's a difference between writing something that's going to be read by people and listening to something or hearing something that was being presented to an audience. And we're getting a lot of stuff that was clearly meant to be read by people, not stuff that's necessarily meant to be listened to. All right. Thank you.